Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time or visiting this channel, I would like you to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to smash the notification bell so that whenever I post a new video you will get notified as soon as possible. Yeah, so it's another week again. We're entering into another new week, and just as we normally do, we look at what the market has for us going into a new week. And with last week we did a we had a very good week. Yes, we had a very good week. And why am I saying we had a good week? We caught 500 points. Yeah, 500 points on Nasdaq. Yes, Nasdaq gave us 500 points last week. Yes, so if you are wondering how much 500 points is in pips, and is 5,000 pips. Yeah, so last week we caught 5,000 pips on Nasdaq. Yes, so it is what it is. All right. Yeah, so and if you can see, gradually I'm reducing the number of pairs. All right, I'm reducing the number of pairs. Yes, if you have realized, the currency market has been rough for a while now, and so trading on the currency market hasn't been so much fun. All right. Yes, it hasn't been so much fun, and I mean, things are happening. All right, things are happening, and so I'm gradually shifting my focus on stock indices. Yes, by the moment, so far as stock indices is concerned, I'm only concentrating on Nasdaq. All right. Yeah, so this is the pairs I'll be focusing on. All right, from now onwards. All right, this is the pairs I'll be focusing on, because so far these are the pairs I see clarity in them. All right. Yes, so these are the pairs I'm going to focus on from now on. As time goes on, you see it's reducing because I'm just training myself to that point where you find me trading a maximum of two pairs. Yeah, two currency pairs, and then a stock indices. Yeah, that is the kind of level I'm going into. All right. Yeah, so much pairs on your watch list is just a disaster to your development. Yeah, so let's go into the market and then see what the market has for us going into a new week. All right. Yeah, so for the dollar index, last week I made you aware that I'm expecting to see a push. All right, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. I made you aware that I'm expecting to see a push to the downside, and so we didn't really see it happening until Friday that we saw some signal. But I still see this to be a consolidation. All right, I still see this to be a consolidation. So I want to see price move to the downside. I'm still expecting that bearishness. All right, so going into next week, we are likely to see price push up, all right, to clear the previous week's liquidity before we see price pushing to the downside. So I'm still bearish on the dollar index. I'm still bearish. All right. Yeah, let's move to AUDUSD and see what is happening. All right. Yeah, so last week for AUDUSD, I made you aware that I'm looking for bullish prices. Yeah, and we saw it also in consolidation throughout the whole week until Friday that we saw this bullish, all right, momentum building up on the market. So going into next week, I would expect to see price retrace a little bit to this area, and then we see a push to the upside. So going into next week, I'm still bullish. All right. Yes, so we might see price come back to this area. All right. Yeah, before we see a continuation to the upside. All right, so my first point of target is going to be this relative equal highs. All right, my first point of target is going to be this relative equal highs. So going into next week, I'll be looking for buying opportunities. All right, I'll be looking for buying opportunities on AUDUSD. Let's look at what is happening on NZDUSD. For NZDUSD, I placed a signal. All right, yes, I placed a signal in the free community. Yeah, so and then I told you to hold the trade. So we are still in buys. Yeah, so we are still in buys on NZDUSD. Let's move a little bit on to the higher time frame and see what is happening. Yes, we are still in buys. So we are, at the moment, we are targeting this equal highs. All right, this relative equal highs. That is going to be our target. That is going to be so going into next week, I still expect to see a continuation to the upside. But before the continuation happens, I want to show you something. We might see a little bit pullback. All right, just as we saw on AUDUSD, we might see a little bit of pullback, all right, to this zone. Let's shift to the 1 hour time frame and see. We might see a pullback, all right. Yeah, we might see price push back into the zone before we see price move to the upside. And so if you missed the setup I posted on the community last week, I mean, there's nothing to worry about, right? Because going into next week, we are likely to see price push, all right, to the downside, because it has to come and then make the low of the week before we see price push to the upside. If you are going to see bullishness next week, all right, if you are going to see bullishness next week, that means we need to see the low of the week, all right. And so for the low of the week to happen, we have between Sunday and then Wednesday, all right, between Sunday and Wednesday. So mostly I'm really expecting to see that low of the week either Tuesday or Wednesday, all right. I'm expecting to see the low of the week from either Tuesday or Wednesday. Then I place another entry targeting upside liquidity, all right, targeting this upside liquidity. So going into next week, I'm still bullish on NZDUSD. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. So for GBPUSD, I'm also expecting to see somewhat bullishness because of the weakness we've started seeing in the dollar index. Yeah, because of the weakness we've started seeing. So going into next week, I want to see some up movement so far as the cable, so far as the cable is concerned, that is GBP USD. But let's see something here, all right, because we realize that for a while now GBP USD has been in a consolidation. Yes, for a while now we realize that GBP USD has been in consolidation, all right. Yes, so going into next week, before that massive movement to the upside happens, right, before I become interested in taking trade on GBP USD, I want to see price, all right, come down a little bit to take up some liquidity, move up, all right, and then come back into the consolidation zone, look for entries, and then I'll target price to the upside, clearing, first of all, clearing these equal highs we are seeing here. Once it breaks this zone, that is where I'll begin to place entries for long-term buys. Once this zone is broken, all right, once this zone is broken, that is the 127 big figure, all right, 1.27000. Yeah, that is where, when it breaks that zone, that is where I'll start to look for long-term buy opportunities so far as GBP USD is concerned. So going into next week, that is my plan for GBP USD. Let's look at what is happening on Euro USD. So for Euro USD, GBP USD, it should follow along, all right. Yeah, I also want to see bullishness. Euro USD also has been in a consolidation for a while now. Yeah, so just as we have seen, we are seeing a consolidation on Euro USD. And so for me to be totally convinced, that definitely we are going to see price move to the upside, I want to see price out of this consolidation zone, all right. Yes, I want to see price out of this consolidation zone. But once I see price breaking this key level we are seeing here, yeah, so just as you can see, this is a key level. Once I see price breaking this key level, definitely I'm going to enter the market for buys to target this liquidity, all right, to target this liquidity we are seeing here. So going into going into next week, bullish on Euro USD, and so I wouldn't be even surprised if we are likely to see this. All right, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this, because it's still in the consolidation, and so with the concepts I trade with, when the market is in consolidation, the next thing I wait is for a fake out. All right, yes, the next thing I wait for is a fake out. So I wouldn't be surprised if going into next week we see this, we see something like this, and then before we see a shoot to the upside. All right, yes, before we see a shoot to the upside or to the zone here, before we see price finally breaking this zone, I wouldn't be surprised if I see this. All right, yes, that will even really give me the edge to insert more position so far as Euro USD is concerned. So that is my plan for Euro USD going into next week. Let's look at what is happening on USDCAD. So for USDCAD, last week I was expecting to see it move to the downside, but it was also in the consolidation. It even took us out of the trade. It took us out of the trade, and Friday we saw this happening. All right, I am very glad of seeing this happening. Yes, and so look at this. Yes, I did this when my PA, that is my personal assistant or a colleague who is very close to me, sent me or alerted me to see what is happening on USDCAD. All right, yes, apparently he didn't even see this here. All right, he didn't even see this here, so I even had to draw out or put out this pattern to let him know that this is what is happening. All right, and whenever you see this, this is smart money reversal. All right, this is smart money reversal, whereby a swing high is formed and the next swing fails to take up this swing high. All right, that is a failure swing. The next thing to expect, you see price will push to the downside, and so we are seeing this here. All right, price took up this swing, but this swing failed to take up the swing, so that makes it a failure swing. And we've seen price broken to the downside, clearing this liquidity and clearing this one too as well. So going into next week, price will just have to move up to clear this imbalance we are seeing here. All right, price will just have to move up to tap into this imbalance. There's a small imbalance here. I don't know if you are seeing, but for me, because I'm very familiar, I can clearly see that imbalance. All right, I can clearly see that imbalance. So going into next week, I'm expecting to see price come up and tap into this imbalance, and then we see price continue to the downside, taking up this liquidity and filling all these imbalances. All right, yeah, so that is my expectation on USDCAD. All right, that is my expectation on USDCAD. Let's look at what is happening on Nasdaq. Yeah, let's look at what is happening on Nasdaq. So just as I made you aware, Nasdaq last week we caught 500 points. Yes, we caught 500 points on Nasdaq. All right, and this was a trade idea. All right, I posted this in my Telegram community. Yes, I posted this in my Telegram community, and so I'm hoping, I know most people who trade stock indices took advantage of it. All right, and I mean, catching 500 points is not a joke. All right, here to catch 500 points is not a joke. That is 5,000 pips. All right, 5,000 pips is never a joke. All right, yeah, so it is what it is. All right, this is the way Nasdaq welcomes me into his family or her family. Yeah, and I mean, it's so good seeing a beautiful price action like this, and then at the end of the day, you just pick up 500 points. That is 5,000 pips on Nasdaq. I'm still bullish, all right? I'm still bullish. And so going into next week, we are likely to see price retracing a little bit to this zone, all right? Retracing a little bit to this zone. Then we continue to see price push to the upside, breaking this level to clear this liquidity we are seeing here. So I'm still bullish on Nasdaq. I'm still bullish on Nasdaq going into next week, all right? So let's see what the market really will present to us, all right? Let's see what the market will present to us. All right, so that is just that going into next week. I wish it has been insightful so far, all right? I hope you've learned a lot with this short weekly forecast I've brought you. If you haven't subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button, all right? That is the only way you can let me know how appreciative you are of getting hold of my weekly forecast, all right? Yes, and I mean by subscribing and liking the videos to give opportunity to someone out there to also get involved with us, all right? They also become part of the Forex community, and it also encourages me to bring you more educational content, all right? For a while now I haven't made any educational content, but just keep on holding, it will come, all right? Yes, I'm really preparing to bring you an educational content, and you know when I bring you an educational content, it's always massive, all right? It's always massive. So just stay glued. If you haven't subscribed, hit on the subscribe button and smash the notification bell. Check through the description box. The link to my Telegram community is there, all right? Click on the link and become part of the Forex Telegram community, all right? I always tell you that there is a lot of things I have in stock, all right? There's a lot of things I have in stock so far as helping the Forex community is concerned, all right? Yeah, so you wouldn't want to miss it, all right? You wouldn't want to miss it. So that is just that going into next week. I wish you all good luck and good trade. I'll come your way again another time.